Hey there. I thought it was appropriate time in reality to get on here and speak about integration. What happens during integration? What does that concept really mean? And how does that look in our physical reality? And what are we doing in here about it? These are the questions I will attempt to answer as we look at this issue of integration. Right now we're seeing in reality very stark differences, right? Almost like this side or this side. Choose a side. Choose an energy and identify with it, because we need to see what all the parts are before we can bring them back together. And that's actually what happens before integration occurs, is an identification of all the separation points, separation nodules, the parts that we felt we couldn't associate with at some time in reality, okay? So these things are becoming closer, they're magnetizing each other, and they're really getting like a look at the other's charge. Okay, so we're like identifying, okay, there's a positive and a negative, there's a yes and a no, there's a this or the that. There's this side, this ideology, this one. It's this choice or this choice, okay? This is the stark difference before the alchemy can take place. So this is good, and it's part of the process, but it's not the end point. The end point isn't choosing one or the other, actually. That's not actually even part of the alchemical equation, okay? We think it is because that's part of a different equation. We've been working with it, a different world module. But as we come into the new earth, we are alchemically changing. We're going from the duality into the unity field. We're not going the other way around. We already did that. We did the separation. So our memory is in the reverse. So we've come through this reality from oneness to separation, and we play this game of separation, and now in this new reality we're coming back into unity. But see, it's the reverse. It's like the two torus. Sometimes we're going up, sometimes we're going out. Okay, it's the same sort of pathway. It's just in the reverse. So right now, we're seeing what's bumping up against us. So identify that for you in all different places. Like lots of places this shows up. Sometimes just even in eating, how I feel to eat or not eat, and what the presentation is, or what my logical mind would choose to create, and what those two things are, or what's showing up at the place I'm visiting, or whatever. That can be something that's conflicting. It can be relationship choices, political, world event polarizations, interaction with family members. These can feel like these polarizing forces, right now. I ate something for dinner that is not fully coalescing with my system, and is one reason that I'm making this video, because I'm like, okay, I need to integrate what I chose to eat, okay, because that already happened in my physical body. So I like to use real life things to look at the macrocosm, because we're the smallest version. So whatever story we're chewing on at the moment is also a window into eternity. So what I ate, what you ate for dinner, if we look at it and say, this is how I feel about it, what does that say about the wholeness right now? If there's a little bit of indigestion in the wholeness. And the bird, the crow, caws 3 times, which to me is a confirmation from nature. And then the wind blows. And then the dove. These are the windows into eternity, that when we attune ourselves and listen, life is always speaking of the return to magic. And so rather than thinking we have to choose this or that, if we can stand in the holy reverence of the polarity, of the seemingly opposites, right? If we can hold both realities simultaneously and say it's not the this or the that, it's the this and the that, both in their wholeness, not either one lacking something, both holding themselves strong enough that they coexist. And this is actually how our sovereignty is truly born. Because we're holding the awareness of ourself, our wholeness on our own, and this other person's wholeness on their own, and we're acknowledging that to such a degree to honor both perfect existence. That the sovereignty is born, and they both coexist, and in their coexistence, a new relationship is formed that contains both. And that is the oneness. The oneness is no longer back into like this gooey, undecipherable elements, but instead a coming together of vessels of wholeness into an organic structure that works together in total harmony, and like nature, like plants living next to each other, like the cells in our body. The cells in our body. Because if we're not at one with the cells in our body, that's called an autoimmune disorder. If some part of us is fighting some other part of our body, mind, emotion, we're internally warring against ourselves, not liking parts of ourselves, wishing parts of our body look differently, judging, or even complaining about the state of the thing, like, oh, I'm always aching, or I'm getting so old, or that creaky sound. All of these things become like a warring against the self. And that's autoimmune and other dis-ease states. But when we're in harmony with our vessel, we're in homeostasis. Everything works. And it's okay, because we just went through this like topsy-turvy reality. There's lots of waves. It was super bumpy. We experienced lots of highs and lows. And we're like kind of coming to this place of still clear waters. And not in a boring sense. Like some of us have not wanted to get there maybe out of fear of boredom, but instead it is the most soothing, soul-soothing, rejuvenating, regenerating, like being in the womb again, but free and outside of it, where we just simply get to float right now into the reality that we are in. We get to. And the integration is just sort of that dissolve-y and reappear-y state that's like the static between channels. We're just like, okay, yeah, all this happened, and stop fighting against it or trying to go back in the current, just allowing everything to exist. And even to the point of reverence. You've done an amazing job getting to here. Seriously. In all gratitude and all respect, my brothers and sisters. Wherever you're at, you're here. And that is commendable. They have been very rough waters. But feel now as the clarity draws you in. Feel now as the peaceful times draw you in. And calm and soothe your heart of the remembrances of when it was so difficult. It's okay. I know. It's okay, I know. You did it. You made it to here. So let us go forward and allow for the magic. It's integration time.